Okay, there we go. We're up here on the back of the roof here on Wakely Drive Northeast doing the roof inspection. Figured I'd start in the back and work my way to the front. I've already kind of walked around. A couple of things you'll notice, it's a older style 3-tab shingle. Nobody really uses these types of shingles anymore. I think they stopped using them in the late 90s or early 2000s. They weren't really all that great when it came to longevity. I think they sold these as a minimum of a 25 or a 20-year, I should say 20-year shingle. Sometimes you could get them as a 25, and they never lasted that long. But a couple of problem areas that I noticed that I want to point out to you are on your soil pipes. These are the pipes that go to the bathroom. You can tell that the rubber back here is just split and water is definitely getting in around that. This is an old, probably the original rubber boot. So that's letting some water in around it, which is pretty typical for old rubber boots. The B vent here, this goes to your furnace or your heating system, and nothing really you can say about it. It's old, it's original. It does not appear to be having any voids where water can get in. So if we were to replace this roof, we would reflash that, we would tear that up and redo the base flashing. Here's another pipe back here, and you can tell, same thing. This is what happens when you expose rubber to the elements. It starts to crack, and got a little bit of algae on the front of it here too. Actually, that's lichen. Doesn't really do anything, it's just kind of cool. You do have some lichen in the back here, not to be confused with algae. Algae is the black streaks. You might have some of those on the front of the roof. I don't want to get too close to the edge, but there's some lichen growth. When that stuff dies, it leaves a little crater in the shingle. Not too bad though. Little bit of lichen growth. The ventilation system here, you do have a ridge vent. However, it's the low profile foam. It's a foam ridge vent. It goes all the way down the peak of your roof there, and on the cross gable over here on the attached garage area. This was not used that often back in the early 2000s, but it's better than the old can vents that people used to use. See if I can find some over here in the neighborhood. I'll zoom in on your neighbor here. See those black squares at the top of their roof? They've got 1, 2, 3. That's typically what people used back then, but back then it wasn't that long ago, I guess, but early 2000s. We could definitely improve upon the ventilation by putting a high performance ridge vent. This is just kind of a lower end generic grade ridge vent. So I think we could definitely improve the airflow and the overall energy efficiency of the attic space. Now you come to the front, the shingles look a lot worse in the front. We've got a south facing exposure where it does get a lot more sun, and you can see the signs of wear and tear right here on the shingle, where you can kind of see that black, dark gray. That's asphalt, and that's the exposed asphalt under the shingles, and that just means basically the stones or the granules have faded away, and now the asphalt's exposed. This is one of the main signs that it's about time to replace your roof. What we don't want to see is fiberglass, because once you get down to asphalt, the next layer is your fiberglass mat, and I can start to see a little bit of fiberglass. It's that shiny stuff. Here you go, right here is a little bit of fiberglass. Right there, another piece. So it's starting to show a little bit of fiberglass here and there. Just standing here, I can kind of look and see shiny spots where it's, you know, kind of glistening in the sunlight here on this beautiful day. So that's, you know, it's wear and tear. It's an old 3-tab roof. There's a puncture mark, it looks like. that could be letting water in. It's hard to say. So the front is definitely wore out. I would say it's getting to be about that time. You've got some exposed nail heads here, which you don't ever want to see that on a roof, just because water tends to work its way around those nail heads. They should be caulked, like these ones here are caulked. There's a dab of caulk. There's some caulk. So you know, overall this southern exposure is wore out. It's a toss-up, you know, as far as replacing the roof or not. You probably don't have any major issues, but you know, the shingles are still laying pretty flat for the most part. I definitely think you should replace the roof as soon as you are financially able to do so, just because, you know, prices tend to go up and not down, and you want to be proactive and not reactive on a roof typically. Well, just more wear and tear. There's still some frost on the roof, so I'm not going to walk on this section, but yeah, much of the same. So so just to recap a couple of the main points, the pipe boots in the back, at the very least you need to put some new flashing around those, because those are definitely leaking as we speak. The ridge vent here could be upgraded to a high performance ridge vent to increase energy efficiency overall. And I would say the third main point is the roof is just getting wore out. It's starting to show, I would say, severe signs of wear and tear on the front of the house, and you should think about replacing it as soon as you can. I also wanted to point out these gutter sponges that you have. And actually, I'm going to get on my ladder to show you this, so bear with me one second. I hope I didn't make you dizzy just there. Okay, so these are your sponges. Actually, they look like they're in really good shape for sponges. You know, you got a little bit of granule. See those granules? Those are the things that come off your shingles, and over time, that's what the wear and tear starts becoming visible. But I would recommend pulling these sponges out, because actually they could create issues for you. You don't have a ton of tree cover, at least in the front. In the back you got some trees, but you know, I don't know how well these are working for you or not, but I would look to replace probably the gutters and the sponge here, and with a nice powder coated aluminum screen system. Just another upgrade that you could consider. These are the old style gutters. They were fastened with a long gutter spike. It's an aluminum nail that fastens into your fascia right there. The new system is all hidden hangers. You don't actually see any fasteners, and it's a lot stronger too, because over time these tend to, you know, this is already loose right here. So over time these will just get weighted down by ice, and eventually won't work as well. So anyway, that concludes the roof inspection. I'll try to upload this and show you guys what you're looking at.